a lot of adults might be watching this and they might go, well, easy for you there, boy. You've got, all these access to these things.
Sure.
But I think that's really helpful for anyone who wants to play. Just get an instrument, keep it out so you see it, and so you'll sit and noodle on it, which you did. But a lot of people do that, and then they don't make any progress.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they go, well, I've sucked at this thing for 3 years. Yeah. So how did you make the jump there to go, oh, this is fun, I'm playing this. Hey, I actually want to improve.
100%. So that definitely was the next step. I think between the ages of probably, I would say, maybe 6 and 12 was when I was just doing my own kind of exploration. So what I did, and I think when I was 10 or 11 years old, I would take 2 tape recorders. I'd record on one tape recorder with a little speaker on it, and then get the next one, record onto that one.
You were multi-tracking.
I was multi-tracking those before I knew what it was, and that was so magical. And just to be able to do that, I think my parents recognized, you know what, it might be time when he gets to be the age of 12 to then have some accountability. There has to be some accountability for you to, I think, strive. Unless you're just God-given at self-motivation, I think at one point in your life, there should be some accountability when it comes to someone saying, hey, you have a week or 2 weeks to learn this kind of material or this concept. And that's when my parents signed me up with a piano teacher in town that was known to kind of play jazz and have some sense of pop music. He wasn't just a classical teacher.
Right.
It was someone they kind of had foresight to say, well, this kid likes to multi-track and sing pop songs, but then he likes jazz, so maybe we should get him a teacher that can kind of allow him to wrap his head around all those musically and conceptually.
Yeah, because if you had a guy that was just going to teach you reading
I would hate
classical, right? It might, you can look back and go, oh, those are good skills.
Exactly,
but it wasn't what you were into at the time, and you really almost need a spark. You need something
100%.
to get excited about.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And he was a good enough
teacher. He was able to do that. Yeah, he sat down and he'd play these jazz 2-5-1s for me, and at 12 years old, I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, what do you mean you can do a half step in the bass line? He's like, oh, so doesn't it sound great? I'm like, yeah, but why? And then he'd explain it. He goes, well, because, it's a passing tone. He would explain that to me, and then it's like, psh, as a kid, there's no way a classical teacher would have ever explained that to me.
Right.
So having that accountability, but then the right teacher was definitely important. So just finding someone that had my, interests in mind helped tons, because then he would bring that kind of energy to the lesson. And then he would get all pumped up being like, he'd love talking about it. We'd go over in our lessons. It'd be like 90 minutes. It should have been an hour because he loved showing me all this stuff. Yeah. So having a like-minded teacher was huge. So to find that is, I think, important.
I think what's great about what you just said, being educators ourselves at different times of our careers, we always got really excited when a student would really be into what we were teaching them. I think in a way, you got to find the teacher, like you said, that is connected to your goals. And then if you want to get the best out of your teacher, be the kind of student that would excite your teacher, which means maybe go above and beyond, maybe ask certain questions.
100%.
Yeah, because that's a really cool thing. I actually hadn't thought about that much. I'm not paying you for it. But the reality is, of you want the best out of your teacher, be the best student.
Yeah.
It sounded like you were just so excited. It excited him.
Very much.
And next thing you know, he's going to give you more insight than he normally would, a normal student.
100%. And he would go over and above and show me things that I didn't ask for, because he's like, ooh, I got something else for you, just to get the spark going. And I'm like, no way.
So it's like, stay tuned.
Yeah, totally. And then I'd be
come
like,
back next week,
baby.
Yeah,
exactly. You know how to reel me in.
Sure,
But that was just a great, he was really good at doing that. And he allowed me to ask those questions. I wanted to ask so many questions, and he made that possible, which was awesome. So the teacher is important, I think. I think you're absolutely right. But I did try and come prepared and bring the fire when I walked in there, because I was like, I want to get to the next stage, like a video game. Like, I got to get to level 3 now. So I was inspired to try and get to level 3.
Man, I love that you just said that, because I think when I talk to students, I always say, look, this is challenging. And it's not going to be easy at first, but it's not overwhelmingly challenging where you just can never do it.
Absolutely.
And it's really like video game designers are there's got to be a psychological study of video game designers to know how to just totally oh, you don't have it yet. Oh, you don't. Okay, now you have it because you want to. Okay, there you go. Level.
Now you can get there.
And you're exactly right. It's really like you can't think of it like I want to get to level 10. It's like, what's level 1?
Yeah.
What is my level 1? What's level 2?
Yeah, absolutely.
Such great insight.
Right, and even just, I was 12, 13, 14 when I first started studying with that teacher. In college, not to fast forward, I don't mean to fast forward too quickly. And
I have a feeling we're going to...
Yeah, I'll bounce around. What helped me so much for my college professors, I got into college, and there's all these insane pianists that I'm, not competing against, but hearing, and I'm like, and they were even playing classical repertoire, which I didn't do a ton of when I was younger, and then I was being forced to learn this kind of stuff, and I was like, I can never do this. And he taught me the most valuable lesson in regards to learning and getting from stage 1 to stage 2 in the video game is that your stage 1 and stage 2 might be something different than someone else. By you beating level 1, it might just means you learned 1 bar of this Bach, prelude. That might be your level 1. You don't have to think you got to be as good as this guy, because you might have a whole different learning system that you use that seems slower at first, but you never know. At one point, you might surpass the guy that's killing the game because you've learned how to learn.
And you've done that in your life, haven't you? Haven't you played with people as a child?
Sure,
and
yeah.
You're like, oh,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden they come see you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
Absolutely,
it's kind of funny.
Yeah.